It's all right. All right, testing. Good morning, people. Happy Wednesday to you folks out there. All right, Facebook, we live. Facebook, we live. What's going on, Facebook? Happening over on LinkedIn. All right, cycling turnover. Let's see. Hold up. It's making sure we're good on all the platforms. Making sure we are good on all the platforms. Good decision. What's going on, Facebook? All right, LinkedIn, we're good. LinkedIn, we're good. Hello there. All right. Let me see this. Yeah. So I'm not on. I don't check the comments, and sometimes I don't even check social media until I'm actually, just making sure everything is posted good. So it's like I'm now reading some of these comments and seeing like who liked it and all that. All right, LinkedIn, Facebook, we're good. Let me just check YouTube real quick, and then we'll get this thing started, man. You know how we roll. You know how we roll over here in the Move Swiftly world. All right. Let's see. Good. Let's do this ad.
Business owners and salespeople, if you want to have the confidence and charisma of a top,
definitely a good ad to have for my stuff, right? All right, good. We're good. Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, we are good. Good morning to everyone out there. How you doing? You see the topic today. You see what we'll be diving into today. We are going to be talking about the Mike Vrabel hire. I'll be using the Mike Vrabel hire as a reference towards a bigger picture and how you as business owners need to really set up your organization so you're molding quality people, you're putting quality values in people, so wherever life takes them after they've come to you at an entry level point, the same way Mike Vrabel came to the Patriots from the entry level standpoint from a player. Now he's coming back as a head coach, having gone through certain experiences and stuff like that. So I'll really be adjusting and breaking all that down for you. That is really what we do over here. And actually, before I even get started today, let me get set up here. Let me introduce myself to anybody that is brand new. Aswan Crookshank. The pronunciation is Aswan Crookshank. Your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, and current 5-time published author and educator. And what I do, what I've created, what I've built, what I'm all about is taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and applying them to businesses and more so business owners. So you have a staff that is incredibly motivated and hungry, eager staff that moves very much like a championship high school or youth football team. That is what we do over here in a nutshell. Boom, streamline it. That's how business got to be. You got to be able to say what you do, say how you do it, and say it with some force, baby. You got to be able to say it with some force. I know you guys like to see here the Reliant Quest Bowl champs. Don't worry about it. We'll be back. I'll be talking about that unfortunately, we gotta watch damn Ohio State and Notre Dame playing the damn national championship a year after we win it. But I'll be addressing that. Later on as we get closer to Monday. Before we get started too much into the topic, let me get through some announcements first. First things first. West Palm Beach, stand up. West Palm Beach, if you are interested in any free boxing lessons, I do those every 2 weeks. If you're interested in being involved with that, just hit the QR code right there on your screen. We have a great setup, and it's something that if you do have the opportunity to learn, I strongly recommend you do. Next thing, business owners, if you have not yet, go to free guide. It's going to take you maybe three or four seconds even, right? Go to freeguide.makeyourmove.com and get you a free guide. Just put your information in and you'll be sent a free guide on how to make your team, how to make it so your staff is moving 10 ways. What I've done, and I have a lot of tips, I have a lot of things that I can tell you how to do, but that's obviously going to be a bigger conversation, more detailed conversation. However, what I've done with all of the work I do is I created 10 ways, specifically 10 ways in which you can implement it right now. You can implement it right now, so you start to see a difference in terms of how your staff is showing up, how your employees are working, the motivation, how eager they are to get to work, what their job description is, and going above and beyond their job description, all that kind of stuff. Right. So that's next thing. And finally, well, let me put the website up again before I go to the next thing. It's freeguide.makeyourmove.com. Finally, tap into the Patreon link. This is where, as we move forward in 2025, I know we're only 15 days in, but as we move forward, this is primarily where most of my content is going to be going. Is going to, as I was telling you guys in yesterday's live stream, the number one goal for 2025 is to more so focus and create more of a network of buyers. All right. So when it comes to the Patreon link, there's something that every single one of us can afford. There's something for everybody. There's low ticket, there's high ticket. The bottom line to it is you want to be in a community. You want to be around like-minded people. You want to be around a group of business folks that are going to share your same passion, share your same eagerness, share your same hunger to go out and get things done. All right. So those are the announcements. All right. So as far as today, this is a Wednesday. So normally what I've done for the past couple Wednesdays, going as far as back as maybe, I believe I started doing it every Wednesday since this past summer. All right. I've coined the phrase. Let me put it up here real quick. That one. There's a phrase that I have coined, and it's actually going to be I'm considering my next book. It's going to be book number 6. It's going to be something around this concept of being a wintrepreneur. I don't have the details yet and how I'm going to structure it yet, but I just know that book number 6 is going to be coming out sometime around 2026, God willing. And it's going to be centered around this concept of being a wintrepreneur. All right. You have not heard, unless you've heard it from me, you have not heard that phrase before. Wintrepreneur, being a wintrepreneur. So being a wintrepreneur requires a couple things. All right. And I'll briefly explain it to you as we get into today's discussion, because every Wednesday, I'll put it up here, every Wednesday, what I did for a while, every Wednesday, I would give a wintrepreneur tip. I'll give a wintrepreneur tip, and I have to explain it to you. So anybody that's new to my world and don't know what a wintrepreneur is, pretty much a wintrepreneur is exactly how it sounds. All right. You take the mindset of an entrepreneur, right? Take the mindset of an entrepreneur, but you have an entrepreneur that's working in an organization, an entrepreneur that has a job every 2 weeks. And we refer to those folks as intrapreneurs, meaning you have a job that's aligning with your goals as an entrepreneur. You're working a job. All right. I'm including myself in this conversation. This school that I teach at is very much in alignment. Whenever I wear you see the plus LY, right? Plus LY right here on the screen. Whenever I wear a shirt that says plus LY, it's almost 100%. Everyone asks me, do you work for a school? Every single time people see that plus LY with the pencils, I'm always being asked, do you work for a school? And I tell them, no, I own this. This is my school. But if you look at the school I do teach at, and then you look at their logo, and then you look at the plus LY logo, it's incredibly similar. All right. And I'm explaining all that to you because the school I teach at is going after the same donors that I would be going after, looking to serve the same kind of people that I'm looking to work with and things like that. So when you're able to be blessed to be in a situation, you're blessed enough to be in a situation, we'll say it like that. When you're blessed enough to be in a situation where you have the entrepreneur mindset, but you're working within an organization that has a very similar vision to yours, that is called an intrapreneur. All right. So because I've been an intrapreneur for so long, whether it was, when I worked at 9 Round, whether it was when I worked with FBU, which is called Football University, whether it was when I worked with National Scouting Report, where I was a college scout and scouting, high school athletes, getting them to college, whether it was when I worked at even Orange Theory. I think I mentioned, did I mention Orange Theory? No. Yeah. Well, Orange Theory and 9 Round, more so Orange Theory and 9 Round, because before I was working in those fitness facility type gyms, with those front desks. I did some LA fitness sales stuff for a while, and then I moved over to sports director. But when it comes to Orange Theory and 9 Round, the learning on the go was really something, because you had one fitness studio in Orange Theory where the members had to be there at a specific time for a class. And then you had the other one at 9 Round where the members could show whenever they wanted. And there was like direct competition in terms of who was going to be. I mean, I know people that had memberships at both Orange Theory and 9 Round and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm explaining all that to explain to you that I have probably the most experience as a wintrapreneur than you would ever meet, which is why, again, I'm the one that coined the phrase wintrapreneur, right? You're winning, just like it sounds, you're winning, and you're being an entrepreneur, and you're also, maintaining a job and aligning your entrepreneurial vision with your job. All right. So that's being a wintrapreneur in a nutshell. And what we're going to discuss today is a recent hire in the National Football League by the New England Patriots. All right, New England Patriots. I grew up I was born in 1989, and I grew up in the era where the New England Patriots were the team. They were a team of dynasty. They were the dynasty. And as a person that's used to winning championships, right? As a person that comes from a culture of football. In fact, I didn't put it out yet, but the post that's coming out later on today is going to be talking about my sophomore year in college. My sophomore year in high school, where I was the captain of my job. I played for Good Counsel High School in Maryland, which is now known as a powerhouse high school football program. Right. 2004, my team, that team I played on, the JV team, I was a sophomore. We go undefeated. The varsity beats the Matha for the first time ever. All right. First time ever. And we ended up losing the championship, but at the end of the day, it was like a championship culture. I went to my first college game then. My sister was a student at the University of Maryland. And I remember begging her all year. I was like, yo, because when I'm not rooting for Michigan, I root for Florida State. So I was begging her all year. I'm like, yo, sis, you got to get tickets to this Florida State Maryland game. So we go to the Florida State Maryland game. This turns out to be the first time that Maryland ever beats Florida. I was in the house for that. I'm going to be putting a post out about that a little later. And then the White Oak Warriors, the youth football team that I played for, this is 2004, and they went undefeated and won the national championship at the Pop Warner level, and they played on ESPN. So, that molded my mindset in terms of the culture, the championship experience, the championship expertise that I'm used to being around, right? So as I was looking at the NFL and who was dominating at that level, it was bang, right here. Anybody that grew up in the 90s, anybody that grew up in that era and watched NFL football, this was right around 9/11. All right, it was, and I'll never forget when the Patriots won that first Super Bowl. It was that year of 9/11 where it just seemed like the football gods were like, yo, New England Patriots, it's your time. It's your time. It's your time to dominate the NFL, because the tragic events happened in September 11th. And that year happened to be the year in which the New England Patriots were taking on the St. Louis Rams, where at the time they were called the greatest show on turf, right? Greatest show on turf. Tom Brady was just implemented, just put into the starting lineup because of an injury to Drew Bledsoe at the time. And if you can remember, again, I watched the game. This has been my life since I was a kid. So if you remember the Super Bowl logo, let me see if I can pull it up for you guys real quick, just so you see it. The Super Bowl logo, they changed the Super Bowl logo to kind of match the Patriots color. Super Bowl 2000, yes, Super Bowl logo. I'm gonna pull it up for you guys real quick. Let me pull it up. Yep, it's this. No, 2001, right? It'd be 2001 then. Yep, exactly. No, yeah, it'd be 2000 because it happened. And yep, this was it. Let me show you guys really quick. I gotta show you guys something really quick. Let me see if I can get it. Hold on one second, guys. It's worth the wait. Trust me, it is actually worth the wait. All right. Let me see if it can upload, and then the champions. This champions, the team. Let me make sure I'm right with the team. Yep, this was it. This was it. Yeah, I'm gonna show you guys. All right, this is a better one. To show you. So so what happened was, all right, and I remember because I was around during this time. What happened was, see, that's hopefully yes, K. Give me 2 seconds. We're gonna get there. Just stay with me for a second because this is actually worth seeing. So what happened was the September 11th, unfortunately, September 11th happened, right? And there was a lot of pride in America. Like there was a lot of people coming together. Everywhere you turn, you saw the American flag being waved. And it was like, 9/11, we're going to come together, for the firefighters. It was a crazy, crazy time to live through. So they had what the NFL did, and the NFL is like a marketing machine. They've always been the marketing machine that they are. At the time, they had a Super Bowl logo that did not look like this. Right? It did not look like this. However, because of September 11th, they changed it so it looked like the American flag, and it brought more eyeballs to the game, obviously. And it just so happened that this was the first team that won the Super Bowl that year of September 11th. Then when they changed the logo, you see the American flag of the logo, and they that game, this was the second season in a row that they were then the St. Louis Rams, that they made it to the Super Bowl. That Dick Vermeil had just retired. They won the year before, and Dick Vermeil retired, and then they brought in their offensive coordinator, Mike Martz, I believe it was. And everyone was expecting the St. Louis Rams to win the Super Bowl. This was the expectation. They had Kurt Warner, Isaac Bruce, Marshall Faulk, I believe Torrey Holt was on that team. They were called the greatest show on turf. And this was the year that the New England Patriots started their dynasty. They started their dynasty, and it felt like you were watching history. It felt like you were watching something that was brand new, as you saw over the decade plus that they were just in it every single year. They ended up winning, I believe it was 6 Super Bowls, right? 6 Super Bowls, which is, again, a dynasty, and something that even myself as a Redskins fan, I grew up in Maryland, so I'm a Redskins fan, I just appreciated being able to witness that, and knowing that Bill Belichick spent some time coaching in the DMV and all that. I can't root against him. And then come on, I'm a Michigan fan, man. Michigan, baby. So you definitely like to see Tom Brady handle his business because he's helping your boys, helping the school, right? So I'll say all that to say that this decision that they made to make Mike Vrabel the head coach, the new head coach for the New England Patriots, was the right decision. And it represents exactly what I like to discuss with you guys, particularly on Wednesdays, in terms of what it takes to be a wintrepreneur, why it is you as a business owner need to adapt a policy or adapt a strategy and adapt the system in which you are creating potential wintrepreneurs within your organization. How much of a benefit it's going to be for you, how much going to be a benefit it is for you to develop a culture and develop a system so you're bringing people back in. Now, let me be very, very, very clear, because I actually just put this article out. The previous coach that they had, Gerard Mayo, fantastic coach. Again, he's coaching at that level. So obviously he's done something the right way. And me as a former linebacker, you will not hear me talk bad about a linebacker that made it to be a head coach, whether it's him, DeMarco Ryans, there was Antonio Pierce even. I'm all about the LBs, baby. I'm all about the LBs becoming head coaches. All that quarterback talk and defense, offensive talk. I'm all about the linebackers, former linebackers, becoming head coaches. That's what I'm all about, baby. So you're not going to hear me say that's anything necessarily negative about Gerard Mayo. But if you're comparing the two when it comes to Mike Vrabel and Gerard Mayo, the thing that I think separates him from Gerard Mayo is the fact that Mike Vrabel, when he was playing, became known for what he was doing on the offensive end. All right. And now I'm speaking from personal experience now, because my 2 years spent as a college football player, 1 year was spent on defense and the other year was spent on offense. And I've told people all the time that year that I transitioned to offense, even though I wasn't getting a lot of playing time per se, I still had to be in the meeting rooms, still had to know what the plays were, what play calls were going to be, where I need to be on certain plays. You still needed to be ready just in case you got in the game. And all of that I learned was prepping me for my coaching career and giving me more of a holistic approach on the game in itself. All right. So when you get a player like Mike Vrabel, who his position was, he was a DN / outside linebacker type of a guy, but he was also the guy that was able to, as you can see here, he was also the guy that was able to catch touchdown passes, right? You can put him in on offense. He knows what to do. He knows obviously certain routes. And whenever you're putting anybody in on offense, they just need to know their assignments. So whenever you have a player that has to do that, like has to do it playing, I'm not talking about coaching. It's a difference when you're just telling someone to do this and you're telling someone to run around, you're telling someone to block this guy. It's like, it's funny because the thing about coaching, the great ones, right? The great ones understand this. It's one thing if you are going to say, hey, Johnny, go block him, when him happens to be JJ Watt, right? It's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? It's a different mentality. When you play and you say, hey, go block JJ Watt, you know, motherfucker, it's JJ Watt. Your hips got to be square. You got to come with you got to come with it. You got to come with correct form, and do what you got to do. It's a completely different message. It's a completely different way of saying the message when you're coaching, never played, never actually done it yourself, and you going and telling somebody, hey, you go block JJ Watt. You're like, bro, you say it like it's the easiest thing in the world, versus a player telling you, hey, go block JJ Watt. Oh, it's like, all right, hey, that's JJ Watt, right? It's a different kind of mentality when you had to play. The reason I'm explaining all this to you is because it's a different mentality. It's a different message, a different way of communicating to folks when you actually have to put in the actions. Easier said than done. The proverbial, it's easier said than done. So when you have a guy like Mike Vrabel that was playing, while he was playing, he was able to make a ton of plays on the offensive end. And speaking of JJ Watt, he was a similar type of player who was able to, catch touchdown passes and do things on the offensive end. Obviously he's known for what he's done as a defender, but he was able to do things on the offensive end that made him so valuable to an organization. Look at the previous Heisman winner, right? Even though I was for Tyler Warren, you look at a Travis Hunter. He's able to do things on both sides of the ball. The more you can do, the better it is. All right. So he has that approach as a player. You got to understand that that's going to take you very, very far in the coaching world. All right. And before I go further, I want to make sure I explain this to business owners, because what we're doing here is we're basically aligning what I believe is a good hire by the Patriots. We're aligning why it's a good hire, and I'm aligning it to how you as a business owner can adopt this mentality. All right. So if you're looking at it from a business owner's perspective, it's important that you teach your staff, all right, the people that are loyal to you, all right, because this is where we're at just in the journey so far, right? At the moment that we're talking about Mike Vrabel being loyal to the New England Patriots as a player. He was told, hey, we need you on offense in certain packages. All right. So you as an owner, now that you're in your business and you're doing whatever you're doing for for a living, and you're building your organization and you're bringing a staff in that has this title or this position, whatever their position is that you're offering, or that you're paying them to do, whatever the job description is that you're paying them for, you as a business owner has to take a lesson from the game and say, hey, you do something else. You need to plan something else. You need to be you can't just, I don't want you to just sell today. Now I want you to go maybe, sweep up the bathrooms. Maybe now I want you to do some office paperwork. Maybe I want you to do something other than this is the one thing I'm doing all day. This is the only thing I'm focused on. Every now and then, it's important that you create that. So the member, the person who's good, let's say they're good at sales, right? Let's say it's a job, you work at a job, whatever, you could, fill in the description or whatever the business in, or you own a business and you have a sales associate. And you tell the sales associate, hey, today, don't worry about doing any selling. I want you to do some office work. I want you to, stack papers and do some things that keep us organized. That seller now has an appreciation for the people who keep things organized and make it so they can just go out and sell. All right. That pushes a person, that makes a person loyal to an organization, and they start to look at things outside themselves, and vice versa for the person who may be the office supply person that's keeping everything organized. Hey, today I want you making some calls. Today I want you at least, shooting out some emails, doing some outreach and figuring out, or sitting down with me, doing a sale or shadowing a salesperson just in case need be. That's how you create culture. That's how you create cohesion. That's what made the New England Patriots so great for those years. It was actually one of the, I'll never forget this, because I remember watching one of those Super Bowl games that they won. It might have been actually this year when they beat Philly. Remember the announcer saying that you're talking about a team. No, it might have been when they beat the Falcons. I mean, you said they won so damn many. They won so many Super Bowls. I'm losing track. But it was one of those Super Bowls that the Patriots won, where the facts were the facts. They had zero first round picks. Zero. Yet we still to this day, take this NFL draft so damn seriously. We turn this NFL draft into an event in which it actually means something when it doesn't mean a damn thing. They won a Super Bowl with zero first round picks, and we still listen to the damn Mel Kipers of those. So for some people, I can't take it. I can't even. There's only two people out there. There's only two places I go to watch, quality football content. That's the facility with Acho and Jim Jones, Shady McCoy and James Jones, I think it is, and Chase Daniel, them boys. And then I like, tuning into Coach JB every once in a while. Outside of that, I can't, like ESPN and the football stuff, I can't take it. I just can't listen to half that stuff. But anyway, I'm not going to go on a tangent there because I can't. The main point before I get to the next phase and why what we're talking about today, by the way, guys, is why Mike Vrabel is a perfect example. The New England Patriots hiring Mike Vrabel as the head coach is the perfect example of what it takes to be a wintrepreneur, what a wintrepreneur is, and why it's important that you create a culture in which we are creating and fostering the wintrepreneur mindset. All right. And eventually, like I said, there will be an actual book that I'm going to put out that, documents what a wintrepreneur is in more detail. But for now, we're making the connection. And the first thing that needs to be understood is, number one, that he as a player, Mike Vrabel as a player, was asked to do multiple things on both sides of the football. All right. As a player, this is important for you to understand, because as a business owner, when you ask an employee or ask a staff member to do something that they're not necessarily in their expertise or in their zone of genius, but you believe that you have a person that's versatile enough to do it, you got to make sure you're nurturing that talent. You got to make sure you're nurturing that talent, because you never know couple years later, they may come back. They may come back and be able to be the person that saves your business, which is ultimately what the plan is. If you're a New England Patriots fan listening to this, you are now so saying, okay, you're hoping, in the perfect world for you, Mike Vrabel is the guy that comes back and makes the New England Patriots what the New England Patriots was all about over the past couple of years. All right, so that's number one. Next thing that made the hire so good, in my opinion, or made sense. We'll say it like that, made sense, and it was the solid. It was just like it was. What's funny about this too is when they let go of Gerard Mayo, I knew that Mike Vrabel was the guy. The same way I called it when it comes to Coach Belichick. I called it. I said the reason that Coach Belichick has taken this job at UNC is because he's going to take his son. He's going to bring his son, Steve Belichick, in to be the defensive coordinator. You can go look it up yourself now and look at who Coach Bill Belichick brought in to be the defensive coordinator for the University of North Carolina Tar Heels. It's his son, Steve Belichick. All right. So that being said, when you think about where he played, in fact, I want to read it to you because I just literally put the article out about this. All right. Think about where he played. I'm gonna read the article to you guys because, well, not the whole thing. You can go get it on my Medium account. By the way, I put out articles every single day. Everything I do here eventually is on. Let me read an excerpt from you real quick. Hold up, actually, you know what? I'll pull it up from my phone. Don't worry about it. I'll pull it up from my phone. All right, I'm gonna read it to you guys. All right, so it's titled. I'll show it to you. It's titled. All right, coaching job interview start while you're playing. All right, just look that up and you'll see me. But number two, the second point I'm going to read it out loud. All right, college coaching credentials strengthen his network. This is me talking about why Mike Vrabel was a good hire. All right. So I explained to you again, as a player, he's doing multiple things. He's playing on both sides of the ball. But again, we all know being a player is only going to be a very small part of your life. Eventually, by the time you hit mid-20s to early 30s, you got to start thinking about what you're going to be doing after you play football. Right. So he got into coaching, and I hate that. Been trying to avoid saying this since we started, but yes, he played for damn Ohio State and he coached at Ohio State. Let me just read it to you because I don't really feel like talking about Ohio State right now. I'm having too good of a morning to be talking about the Buckeyes. All right. So second point I make in the article, I said college coaching credentials strengthen his network. After Vrabel's playing career ended, he made a seamless transition into coaching at the collegiate level, most notably at Ohio State. I didn't hear much about him during his early coaching days until I came across the documentary Training Days. You can check it out here, and I have a link to it there of the Ohio State Training Days, and what I'm reading directly from my phone, by the way, guys. So I said, as a diehard Michigan fan, I'm always curious about what's happening in Columbus, and Vrabel's role at Ohio State piqued my interest. And this is a true story. All right. It was during the Urban Meyer years. They had the video. There's a documentary called Training Days with Ohio State. And I'm just motivated by the game in general. So I loved watching Urban Meyer just get up in them boys' eyes. So I really did. I enjoyed it. And I just was I was angry at the same time because they cheated. They cheated with whatever they were doing, with the tattoos, and then they let Tressel go, and then all of a sudden they get Urban Meyer a damn championship. Like, how do you walk away from a scandal and end up with Urban Meyer of all coaches? But anyway, again, I'm getting distracted. Let me finish this point of the article before I start talking too much. Where was I? In Columbus, right? So as a diehard Michigan fan, I'm always curious about what's happening in Columbus, and Vrabel's role at Ohio State piqued my interest. Why does coaching at the college level matter? It's a question. Unlike some of his contemporaries, and I was referring to obviously Gerard Mayo, unlike some of his contemporaries who went straight into NFL coaching, Vrabel spent time shaping young athletes understanding how to build a culture from the ground up, the relationships he forged with his players, staff, and administrators at a major program like Ohio State provided him with invaluable insights. Running a football program is about more than X's and O's. It's about recruiting, resource allocation, and dealing with the countless behind-the-scenes factors that keep a team functioning at best. This background contrasts, for instance, with someone like I mentioned, Gerard Mayo, another Patriots great who didn't have that extensive college coaching experience. Vrabel's familiarity with both college and the pro landscapes equips him with a broader network. He understands how to develop talent and communicate with people from varied backgrounds. In an era when the Patriots must continually retool to stay ahead, that type of perspective is priceless. Period. All right, period. In my opinion, what made Mike Vrabel such a valuable hire was the time. And he actually, before, obviously, as I was preparing for this morning, I listened to all 40 minutes of his press conference with the Patriots, and he had mentioned that time. He had mentioned that time as such a key point towards developing into his coaching career, right? He said specifically the worst job interview that he ever gave was when he interviewed for the Ohio State job with Urban Meyer. He said, dude, I was terrible. That was the specific words. He goes, I was terrible. And then fortunately he got an opportunity a couple hours later to interview for the assistant coaching position. And obviously he did better. He got better. So he sees the players. And then when you think about how he came into the NFL, he wasn't Chase Young. He wasn't like the first, or even Abdul, the one coming out from Penn State. He wasn't that diehard, that desirable defensive end that everybody was really trying to get. He came in, got into the league from the back door, right? So there's an understanding that he has from every single player. He can relate. And one of the things I actually heard him say in his press conference is there's a conversation that's relatable that he can have with every single player in that locker room. That is what you got to have when it comes to your business. I am not saying this, again, I'm telling you this not because I'm a Patriots fan. I don't particularly, again, I like Tom Brady only because of the Michigan connection, but I like Bill Belichick because of the fact that he's from Maryland. I'm a diehard Commanders fan, diehard Redskins fan. We used to run through coaches like it was nobody's business, right? So I could tell you I'm a little, obviously, very envious towards the New England Patriots and their fan base and how much winning that they're used to. We just got done winning our second playoff game in 20 years. And they're so used to winning Super Bowls and all that. But anyway, again, when we talk football, I get a little distracted. Here's the point. Business owners. What I just read is something that you have got to implement. You've got to hear me from my heart when I tell you this. All right. Just like before, when I mentioned being a person that's teaching versatility, teaching a young staffer or an entry-level staff member, someone that's working in the entry level, that's job description is one thing, and making sure that they're able to do multiple things if you feel like they have the ability to do it. It's also very important that you allow people to see the bigger picture. All right. You allow people to see the bigger picture, and you allow people an opportunity to build these relationships and create pipelines and farm systems. All right. Because what happened? All right. What did I say happened? Let's again use the game as an example. He's done his playing career. Mike Vrabel's through playing, and then he goes back and he coaches where? At his alma mater where he played. In fact, let me show you here. As much as I don't like putting Ohio State stuff on the screen, I will show you that college player. We'll just look up where did Mike Vrabel play his college football, and I will show you right here. This is him. This is him. This is him. All right. This is him. All right. This is him. Ohio State. You see it. 93 to 96. That's Mike Vrabel. Let me move the thing just so you see it. That's him. So he's able to go back to his alma mater, coach there, get a perspective, get an understanding, and just learn. Again, he was an assistant coach there, and just learn how things work, learn how one of the GOATs in Urban Meyer runs things, learn all of the resources. In fact, I actually remember, what the hell was the name of that book? So Ohio State won the first ever national championship when the college football had just started. And I think it was, what's the name of that book? Because I remember reading it. I think it was Urban Meyer. Yes, above the line. Yes, so it was after Ohio State won the first college football playoff national championship. And Urban Meyer, like a lot of coaches do when they win a championship, they write a book because obviously there's a lot of buzz when it comes to their name, and obviously they're going to get a great deal of sales and all that. But anyway, I read the book Above the Line by Urban Meyer, and one of the things that he talked about during his coaching tenure at Ohio State is he would make sure the players understood the resources and how, taking advantage of the resources around the program was something that he demanded. He wanted to make sure every single player was taking advantage of the resources. Now, you get Mike Vrabel, right? You get Mike Vrabel, who obviously is coming to him fresh off his career as a player. So he still has the player's mindset. It takes time to develop the coaching mindset. It takes time to transition from player to coach. It really does. It's a big, big difference than going out and doing something versus having to go out and tell someone to do something and tell them again and then tell them again and then tell them again. And they get in the game and they still don't do it. And then some of them that you believe in, you got to accept the fact that it's a big, big difference from playing and coaching. So as he was able to transition now, he does it at the university in which he played. And even in his press conference, he spoke about how invaluable that time was. All right. So the way it translates for you as a business owner is making sure you're setting up pipelines. And you are working with organizations that are going to be complementary to yours. Obviously, Ohio State Buckeyes are very complementary to every NFL team, all right? Not just the New England Patriots, but the way you can see it as a business owner is making sure that you're working with organizations that are very complementary and you're doing it proactively. You have to do this proactively. That's the only way you're able to build culture and make it so people, good quality people, are coming to your organization, and you are able to take advantage of that because you are actively and proactively working with organizations that will be complementary to your goals and your vision. That's how you got to do it. The same connection. All right. In fact, I remember hearing Bill Belichick say that all the time. It's like, obviously coaches, he's really known. His dad was known at Navy. He's like, look, me and Navy, New England Patriots, it's the connection, right? And that leads me into the next point, in which started Mike Vrabel's. What we're talking about today, by the way, guys, is why Mike Vrabel was a great hire for the New England Patriots. Is he transitioned into the coaching world. Look at who he coached under. He coached under Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien was the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots, and then he took the head job for the Houston Texans. And Mike Vrabel was his defensive, I believe it was either the D coordinator or the linebackers coach, one of the two. But the bottom line is the relationship was forged at the New England Patriots when he was playing, and he obviously knows him, and and now it's a great situation because as the head coach for the New England Patriots, Bill O'Brien he's still the head coach for Boston College, right? So he's able to develop there. He's able to continuously develop. And then the ultimate, and I'll just read this last part to you because I see we're running a little short on time, is the final part. The proven is when he actually got the head coaching job for the Tennessee Titans. Now, the Tennessee Titans have yet to win a Super Bowl. They've yet to, the last time I actually even remember them being relevant was with Eddie George and Steve McNair, rest in peace, the late Steve McNair. That was the last time I even remember them doing anything of relevance. I'm telling you, I promise you that. Not even trying to be, again, I'm a Redskins fan, so I can't talk too much. I can't talk my shit too much, even though we are still playing this week, But the fact is, Mike Vrabel came in as the head coach for the Tennessee Titans, and he had a record of, let me see, what was it? 56-48. 56-48. Winning record. Went on several deep playoff runs. And there's a clip out there. If you watch Bussin' with the Boys with Taylor Lewin, another Michigan great, and Will Compton, they both played for the Titans. And I remember seeing when the news actually dropped that the Titans were letting Mike Vrabel go after a 56-48 record, several playoff appearances. Okay. After that, I remember seeing their reaction live on their show, and they were like, "Are you serious? Serious?" These are people that know him personally. They're like, "Are you serious right now? Mike Vrabel is out in Tennessee?" I didn't expect that. I now at the time during his time, I was actually working for the Dolphins Foundation, and I remember I was there at that game that had lightning, and that game ended up being like 7 hours, something like that. So after I was able to put the work down and just enjoy the game. So I remember actually seeing him in person, seeing the team and all that kind of stuff. So it was cool. That was pretty cool to see. But the point I'm making is that he made the Tennessee Titans relevant. He really did. He made the Tennessee Titans relevant. The fact that they didn't have the year that they wanted per se, I couldn't speak to the details of it, but it seemed from the outside looking in that it was really, really premature. And then when you consider the fact that they're not in the playoffs this year, the Tennessee Titans weren't relevant this year. As you look back on it, it's easy to say now that this decision probably wasn't the best decision. All right. So long story short is Mike Vrabel has had proven success as a head coach. Unlike the previous person that occupied the head coaching position for the New England Patriots, Gerard Mayo, there's no actual track record towards success with Gerard Mayo. If you're comparing him to Mike Vrabel, right? So as you think about this, right, as you think about what you can take away from this as an owner of a business and a person, again, primarily the folks that tune into my work are the folks that are looking to build a cohesive team. They want to make it so the culture is inclusive to folks that want to get better. All right. The way you sort of transition this into your business is a lot like I've been mentioning throughout today's entire show. You have to make sure your systems, the systems that you have in place, are making it so folks are getting better and you don't get caught up in the bright lights per se. You don't get caught up in the quote unquote first rounders or whatever it is. You more so create a system in which folks are coming, like the Mike Vrabels are coming as one thing. They're developing into something else. And you also at the same time need to be proactively working with organizations that will complement your overall vision that will be very complementary towards your business. That'll be very complementary towards the services that you offer and the people that you look to help and the products that you look to create in the future. All right. That's what you have to do. And with that system, you will see solid relationships being built. All right. You will see solid relationships being built. Whether we're talking Mike Vrabel coming in as the free agent and him working with that defense. Again, we're talking about a Bill Belichick defense. We're talking about a guy that won a Super Bowl when he was at the Giants. He won a Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator. All right. So knowing exactly who he coached Lawrence Taylor. I mean, you don't need to say much when you coach a guy like Lawrence Taylor. Knowing when to take a defensive guy, put him on offense, and maybe, get him out in the spread. You got to adopt the same things as an owner. When something comes up, hey, this person has the ability to do this. It's almost like, and I'll close you out with this example. And I'll close you out with this example because I just thought of something as I was thinking about it. Last year or 2 years ago, we had a situation here, and I live in South Florida, right? I live in West Palm Beach more specifically, but although I've been West Palm, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, I pretty much primarily am around been around the block when it comes to South Florida. All right. Long story short, it's a lot of bilingual people out here in South Florida, right? So hold on, let me get a drink on. There's a lot of folks out here that don't speak English. In fact, there are certain parts of Miami where there's no English being spoken at all, right? So the school I teach at, the Center for Creative Education, primarily the folks that work here or the people that come in speak English. But occasionally, like last year, we had a situation where somebody was on the phone and they only spoke Creole. So there's a couple ladies that work here at the school that can speak Creole. Now, the one that was actually here to have that conversation, she was on break. She was on break. She was, she was on yesterday. Shout out to Shay. But she was on yesterday. She was on break and she couldn't take the call. So who knows what happened with that business or who that person could have been, this, that, and the third, all sorts of things you just don't know. And the bottom line is, and I'm bringing this up, is because as an owner, you've got to implement things in which people are going to develop, in which people are going to get better, in which you're going to figure out, okay, if there's a situation where somebody calls and they're bilingual and they only speak Spanish, do I got a person that actually knows how to speak Spanish and can offer some insight or answer the questions that need to be answered, and we can move forward as a business? That is what you have to do, and that's pretty much everything. That's everything today in a nutshell when it comes to being a entrepreneur. Is, are you creating an environment? This is an everyday thing. We could talk about this. We could talk about this every single day. Are you instituting and creating an environment in which you are constantly developing people to get better? Period, point blank. And this actually, I got one more thing to remind you of before I officially close. Also, are you working with organizations that are going to be complementary to your overall vision? All right. Period, point blank. That's what you have to do. If you're not doing those things, you will be eaten alive by your competitors. Your competitors will absolutely eat you alive if you're not implementing these things proactively on a regular basis. All right. So all that being said, let me remind you, let me put it up here one more time. Tap in with me on the Patreon link. It's patreon.com/as144 to get exclusive content. The main website to check out, to dive deeper into all my work, it's makeyourmove.com. Will be on somewhere in the link, wherever you're watching this from. But it's makeyourmove.com. That's makeyourmove.com. It's a one-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one Crookshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker. Check it out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon. See you guys tomorrow. Monday, by the way, we do this Monday through Friday now. So see you guys Monday through Friday, 7:30 to around 8:30. We'll go for about an hour. No, we won't go. I don't I try not to do it for longer than an hour, but depending on the topic, I'll keep it within 50 minutes to an hour. So talk to you guys soon. Later.